Just not going. Nothing's going. So.
Yeah, bring it in, strange time. It's such a yeah. I wonder if my dogs are watching. I know you are. And if you ain't, you will be. And if you are watching and you ain't my dogs yet, you will be, because I'm Swede and I'm going to help you get busy living. The Get Busy Living Project 55. That's 55 months in a row on at least one epic adventure every month. And this is the podcast to come to know about it. We're going to show about it. And we ain't all about that. That's just something else that we're doing as a part of the big picture cause. But whatever it is, this week, it's about keeping it real going wrong. And what is real these days? Can we trust anything? What do we take pride in? But first, because nothing is worth having if it ain't worth sharing, allow me to introduce the co-pilot of this journey, an entrepreneur out of Los Angeles, the star of Unfly Yourself. I'm sorry, I love Unfly Yourself. I'm saying it, the star of the show at unflyyourself.com, one of my all-time favorite humans. Please welcome the dazzling D-Rex Eckstein.
Thank you. I am always so happy to be here. I just got to tell you, none of this stuff is playing today that I am trying to play.
Blame it on the rain. It's like it's the internet.
I'm trying. I am really seriously trying, but sometimes things don't go as planned, but I think that makes our intro different every single time. Is that a bad thing?
Did you get your voicemail today? Did you?
Voicemail.
I left you a voicemail today.
No, I didn't check my voicemail today, but
it's so funny. So ironic because I sent you a text message that said, "Thanks for not having a full mailbox." That's so annoying to me but somebody has their mailboxes.
That's true. That's true. And I did read that message, but then I didn't check my voicemail because I just called you back. Does that count for something?
Absolutely. I'd rather have that, but
okay.
It's there.
Well, you know what? We should say hello to people who are here. It's so wonderful when people are here right at the beginning. How's it going, Chet?
What is up, Sue?
Nice to see you guys there.
Oh, shit.
This is a special appearance. Hello. And of course, Scooty Wells. You know what? It's so nice to see everybody here. Thank you so much for showing up.
J. Samuel Pierce, what is up, my man? Hey, look. As much as I am good at remembering people and I try harder than most, I've been forgetting a lot of people more than most lately. Now I got a bug in my house. J. Samuel, so help me remember who you are, brother. Don't be afraid to speak up, man. It's good to see you in the house. Thanks for your support. D-Rex, say hi to J. Samuel. I don't know who that person is. Maybe if I show you my friends, J. Samuel, you'll show me yours. Scooty Wells is in the house. The Wolf, Lori Colonna. Thank you, babe. Thank you. And I owe you that call. I know. Damn it, man. That drive home from Texas, I've made plans to call every person on earth. I think.
You know what? How long is that drive from Texas?
Not long enough, obviously, because I didn't get through to a lot of people.
Yeah, you're just
15 hours, man. And man, I was on the phone for a lot of it. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I was one of those people. And it seemed like every 10 minutes you were like, oh man. One point you thought you saw a bear. Like you were seeing all sorts of things. Tell me about the tell me about the drive.
Oh, J. Samuel Pierce at the conference this weekend. Bro, that conference was off the chain. So D-Rex, Dallas was worth it. And I'm extra proud. Continuing the tradition of transparency, I'm extra proud to say that even though there's probably going to be other things in March that we could call, us getting busy living, I like this particular one as the feature event because being a part of a bigger purpose and witnessing people that are there like crying over it live and in color and knowing that it's real life stuff
Mm-hmm.
It's not just somebody's really good at their job and got a new car. It's not like, it's not like a big pay raise. It's like lives are changing. They're learning shit and sharing what they're learning with the people that need to know about it. I saw all of the possible cure or remedy, can't say cure, all the possible remedies you can imagine that that are being affected positively by leading edge research. But stem cells can't help everyone, but man, it's a short list compared to, or it's a long list compared to those that it can help. It's a short list of people it can help compared to the long list of people that it can. It's amazing. People that were like spinal cord paralysis, walking, hearts, sonograms, and cardiograms, and all the grams you can ask for of heart improvements. People with knees, ankles, brains getting fixed, guts getting fixed, nuts getting fixed. I'm telling you, they're like, it's like stem. Look, they're the people that eventually I'm going to be standing next to, advocating for, are going to be like, "Sweet, do you remember saying this?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And like, we told you not to tell that we can cure stuff. And I'm like, I didn't say cure. I said heal. And if I did say cure, I corrected myself.
Okay.
Heal.
Okay. Well, I wish that I had met J. Samuel Pierce, because that would have meant that I was at that conference. And I just feel like those are the sorts of things that are changing the world. And I wish that I had been there. I had some family circumstances this past month. I had my own little adventure of going to Colorado, and that's why we were live casting from different places last week. But now we're back in our home places, and we have so much to catch you guys up on. In fact, you know what? I think I want to kind of bring in this graphic just to kind of start the conversation, because I was doing a little bit of reading, and here, let's see if I still have it up.
No.
I know. Can you believe it?
Whole paragraphs, not just a bunch of characters.
Maybe it was a bunch of characters, but I was reading about the 6 basic psychological needs of humans. And the reason I'm bringing this up now is because you were saying one of these. Now, this set of basic psychological needs, this is nothing new. This is something that people have been talking about forever. And this is also something that Tony Robbins has brought into his own materials lately. But something that I found very interesting. And let me just move forward on this. So love and connection, I think everybody can get behind that. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, I know.
Speaking my language. You know how to start off with get my attention, D-Rex.
Another one is variety, which means...
which all three kind of go together. I've been saying that for years. Wait, no.
No, not like that. Like not doing the same thing every day.
All right. It's a family
show. You're going off on a tangent.
Sorry.
Okay. So the third thing is significance. You want to feel like what you do is important, that you matter, that you're not invisible. And certainty, that's an interesting one. You want to have a certain amount of certainty, and I think that's a lot of why people turn to religion. It gives some answers. You don't want to feel uncertain in your life. You don't want to feel uncertain that you don't have a place to live tomorrow. You need some level of certainty.
For sure.
So there's 2 more. There's growth. We all feel like we need to grow in our lives, and that's one of these things that we need to feel whole. But it's the last one, contribution. We have to feel like we're contributing to this life. And, that's kind of what you were saying there, where it's like these people are sharing and we're contributing, and these scientists are working on these problems with stem cells. And I can't imagine a more fulfilling train to be on, to be able to share this message of how the stem cells are helping people. Not just people with spinal cord injuries, but hopefully people like our friend Schaefer, and who we keep mentioning every week, because you know what? He's the best. And I've never met him in person, but I already love him. Would you like to talk a little bit about Schaefer?
Absolutely. So thanks for coming back, Lori. So when I was at the convention, I sent Lori a text message of one of the slides that they put up on there. And when I get access to that, I'll see if I can share some of it. And but the one slide said right there on there that they have a high efficacy rate with cerebral palsy.
Mm.
And that's a wide that term, although we hear it a lot in society, not a lot of people know specifically what it is. And I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to explain it, but I'm going to tell you that it's a sort of an umbrella statement. All right, it's a brain, defect, and so to speak, but it's not. It's kind of a vague description because scientists don't know exactly what it is, and that's why it's hard to cure it because it presents itself in a lot of different ways. So they have this kind of area of things that they know is wrong, and it causes a lot of these things. So that makes it difficult to track what exactly they're trying to heal from person to person. You know what I mean? And to know that they're having luck with that is that's such a huge portion of the population, and it's so impactful because prior to this, it's been such a hopeless place to be. Like they, I know what it feels like to be told that there's not really much you can do but hope and try to get better and hope, but we don't really. They'll tell you the spinal cords, they don't operate on spinal cords. You have to hope that you become a part of some sort of trial, and hope that it works. But it's not like you break your arm and you go to the doctor and get it fixed. And there are certain things that have no hope, like it's terminal. And let's all point our thumbs back at our faces and count our blessings that we're not terminal, and feel for those who are dealing with those that are. But the things that there's nothing but hope, but no proposed cures, ironically feel hopeless sometimes. It's like if your only thing to do is to do more, it seems like, you know what I mean? Like it's hard. And so to see that up on the stage, I was really excited about reporting back with that news for sure. And there's so much more.
Well, we will definitely be talking lots more about that. But I would like you to talk a little bit about what we were chatting about on the phone earlier. You know what? Actually, I can start with just by saying I've been too much in houses lately. I've been too much in houses, in airplanes, and on screens. And you don't even know this because I didn't even mention this on the phone earlier. But I just decided that since I had to go to this special hardware store up in the mountains, that I was going to take my son with me. And we were also going to go up into the mountains. We were just going to go for a drive. And it's been a long time since I put some time aside to just go for a drive. And I know it's what you've been doing a lot of lately, but I actually don't just drive unless I'm going to Phoenix or back, And for us to just take some time and to go up to the mountains and see all the fresh rainfall and the waterfalls and the clouds and the greenery, it was really resetting to us. And it could be resetting for anybody because being out in nature is one of the things that humans actually really need at the heart of everything. But we're always on our phones. And now, like Meta is making it easier for us to really live inside the metaverse, inside our computers. And it's such a strange time to be alive. It's so strange.
Yeah, I've been approached by somebody on Instagram about turning their, it was such a hard sales pitch. You're paralyzed. I'm making you should view this like it's the answer for you because you can. It's almost like you're really doing it. And listen, I bought a headset and it's legit, but it's not like you're really doing it. But there are a lot of people that is a better alternative. And I had a conversation with CJ yesterday morning at breakfast. By the way, man, shout out to CJ. Thank you for putting up with us. So anybody that helps along the way whenever we're getting busy living on these monthly epic adventures is much appreciated. We need to have a credits at the end of the show, with all the people that help along the way. And CJ hooked it up on the way out there and on the way back. But we were talking about it in the morning, and we were talking about some people don't have the level of awareness for whatever reason. Some are too distracted. They have plenty of awareness, but not enough time to pay attention to it. And some have plenty of time, but don't have the wherewithal, and we're all blessed in certain levels. But some people just aren't able to keep up in that respect. And it's such a blissful way of living for some people. But the less that you know, the more that it seems like you know. It's up to others to help you get through it when you are faced with obstacles that you don't have the capabilities of overcoming. And so to be helped along the way like that with all of these things, the psychological needs that you were just talking about, anytime, very few of us have all of those satisfied, right? But the level of to which they're satisfied for each person, determines their level of depression that they're in. And when you're working with less tools in your toolbox or less resources, for whatever, however you want to describe that, it's up to others to help, man. And that's why when I talk to people about this supposed tragedy that's happened to me, that I hear a lot, I have to admit that it's not easy, but there's a purpose here and it's fulfilling. And I see it in front of me. And that's why, D-Rex, I'm so excited about having you help and having you be a part of spreading the message on a regular basis. Show up and be spectacular and help me get the point across, because what these guys were doing this weekend, people are doing all over the world. But there's a lot of people that aren't doing that. And they're in there's easy outs. That's why I told people to tune in, because there's ways of getting around those depressions, those psychological needs that aren't getting met. You can make wise decisions. You can be smarter and earn those things back. In my opinion, if those things matter to you, start with reading.
You know what? Here, let me try to put this back up on the screen. I don't often use graphics, so I feel like anybody who wants to be part of this mission, there's so much of what we're doing that does actually fulfill these needs. So, if you want to be part of this more, even in a very small way, it'd be great if you would reach out to us. I'm going to put the email up here on the screen. You can email us at hello@getbusyliving.com. And there's small ways you can help. There's large ways you can help. And it really could be as simple as spreading the word on your social media before we go live on Thursdays, It really could be that small.
And if you guys are in the chat box, thank you for showing up, Stephen, Anthony, MNF, and Guthrie.
Oh, yeah. Let's say hi.
In the house. Straight up, while you guys are listening, grab the link and throw it up there on social media and let people know that you're here and tell them to chime in. The more people that we get here, the more people we're going to get busy living with as these things grow. And if you haven't tuned in and you don't know what the Get Busy Living Project is, it started by having my life saved and changed in a way that the only way for me to repay is to change other people's lives. And through consulting with all the people along the way, they're responsible for getting me to where I'm at, literally from being pulled out from underneath a pile of rubble, having a roof caved in, waking in the hospital a day later, and then spending 2 weeks in a coma, awakening in another country 2 weeks later, finding out that your life was saved by people from all over the world. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of donations. And I'm not talking about dollars, yes, but the number of donations. Like the average donation from what one person told me was less than $50. And to imagine that over 100,000, was raised, and Lord knows what it has turned out to be up till now with the support that I've gotten for this project, and so we're in the early stages of trying to make it so that by helping me, which I appreciate all of it that's happened up to this point, I'm trying to build something with your help so that for you continuing the level you're helping at now, just more people that matching your effort, then I'm going to try to amplify that. I'm going to try to help average everyday people get busy living by coming and seeing you guys, those of you that saved my life, once a month for the next 48 destinations, 48 months. And then I'm going to try to channel the funds that are generated back into the community, helping with targeting specifically spinal cord injured patients, because that's obviously what I am. But the Help Swede Walk Again organization's overall mission is to help with legislation, to help with public information, and to help with public access to stem cells. There's such a stigma against stem cells out there that allows the people that can guarantee themselves losses if stem cells become successful are building barriers for it. But it's just a matter of time. before um, there's market saturation and it becomes accessible for everyone. And
Mhm.
I feel so strongly about that, that's why I'm putting so much energy and effort into perpetuating that. So by participating in this project, you're helping me help that realm as well. And overall, I hope to have so much success overall in general with my life and this project that I'm able to throw you guys the huge party that I promised when I was in a coma.
Yeah, it's all such a huge story, but it definitely deserves repeating every once in a while for new people who are here. And speaking of people that just showed up, hello, Ray.
Oh, my man. So, speaking of Hello at Get Busy Living,
Mhm.
Ray is one of the people that has chimed in and is offering his assistance.
Oh,
So,
wonderful.
um, as the team grows and our relationships grow stronger, we'll start to become more public. In the meantime, we're just getting the team built out where we have had a little bit of work done on the website, and it's a work in progress, as is the entire project. But by all means, please do go to the hswa.org and chip in on the project by grabbing yourself a copy of the Help or the Life in the Year of Swedisms book. So the way this came out originally was a few years ago. The Help Swede Walk Again people that are part of this project, um, that's been helping all along the way. I got to give a shout out to these guys. I mean, in the beginning, it was, to be quite frank, Micah was the first Help Swede Walk Again person, and I hear she's doing great. It wasn't long after that that Elmo and Laura and Rob and Joanna chipped in, and obviously they've gone on with their lives. But right there, Scooty Wells picked up, and he's been right along, holding my hand the whole way. And JFT just left, but he's been a huge supporter. D-Rex, you've been helping from since years ago. I don't know to the extent of how many of you guys are going to see this or have already or are watching now that already have help. I feel like it's every single one of you, and that's how I take on the world. Like I woke up to having my life saved, and I was like, well, then I want to live a great life first of all, so that you guys get your money's worth. But I want to pay it forward. So how do I save other people's lives? Well, in my darkest hours, when it was time for me to face what I was going to do with myself if I might not ever get out of bed again, I found out what stem cells were. I read the book by Neil Riordan, and I decided at that point I wanted to become a part of it. And that was 4 years ago. And I'm happy to say that shortly after I read that book and decided that I wanted to become a part of it, I decided to go back to school. And the first step when you go back to school is get a degree, right? So here I am 4 years later. I graduate with my degree in May. I'm actually considering, Sabrina just hit me up with another email that I may extend my graduation and pick up another year of research and have a double major, because it's going to make that PhD look so much easier or nicer. And it's going to get me better prepared, because, to be quite honest, although I do have credentials, or will when I graduate, I don't feel super confident about the level of learning that I've gotten in this degree, because I was sick so much of the time. I mean, how many times have I been in the doing homework in the hospital? I can't even. It feels like, because living in hospitals, nursing facilities up until 2 years ago, I was in school the whole time pretty much after that. My school felt like I was doing it in a hospital a lot of the time, but it was, if you think it's hard to concentrate when you have the privacy of your own home on schoolwork, try concentrating when you got dead people moaning in your
Oh
ear.
my gosh, oh, that's an
So,
extra level of difficulty no one needs.
oh man, I apologize. I don't mean to bring the mood down,
You're not bringing the mood down.
but it is. It's
You're
it's no,
keeping
no,
it
no.
real. You're keeping it
Yeah,
real.
I feel sometimes like when I talk about living in those facilities, like I'm feeling sorry for myself, but I'm not. I'm feeling so thankful that I'm out of there. That's
Yeah,
what it
it's
is.
really quite an amazing story how you got sprung out of the facilities. But you know what? Um, there, there's so much. There's so much to this story and where we're going. It's hard to tell in one podcast. So sometimes we have to revisit it. Just to make sure that it's all told. There's just so much.
Yeah, and I don't want people to hear us talking about what we're doing and being so proud of ourselves. And quite frankly, D-Rex, I am extremely proud. It wasn't easy to become proud, and it took a lot of people telling me that I was on the right track, and struggling, and still persisting. And look, I'm not talking about being proud just of this project in itself. I mean, I'm talking about being proud of the fact that I did the right thing up until I chased a monkey, and people thought I was worth keeping around. And
Yeah.
since then, I'm proud that I've been able to hug a lot of those motherfucking heads off. You know how many people I've heard say, "Oh, okay, okay."
I actually overheard that on the phone one day. You're like, hang on, I got to talk to my friend, and I was holding, and I heard, and it like took a really long time, and I thought he's hugging that person's head off.
Yes.
I did hear it. So you know what? I really want to go to the topic of today because we were talking on the phone earlier, as we always are, and we have to just stop because it gets interesting. We're like, save it for the podcast. And we were just talking about how people are so invested in their online life and filtering their lives to look perfect and filtering what they receive in information and actually filtering themselves from the outdoors, that we were just like, wow, this is a big problem.
Yes, it is. It is. It is. It is. It is.
And that's why I brought up earlier that, I had gone up into the mountains today, because that was important for me to see. I'm actually going to share a picture of that if I can figure it out. But I just felt like this is the reset that I needed. I actually didn't realize it until I was sitting there looking at this scene, and here it is. And can you see that yet? Oh, add to the stream. Here you go. So I'm standing there, and this is our view. And you can hear water rushing down the hill everywhere. And the tops of the mountains are clouds, and there's these black trees sticking out. And we're just standing there, and it's really cold. It's really cold up there. We didn't have the right shoes or coats, but we were just on a drive. And it completely reset me. There was nothing artificial there. It was just us and the world, And that's what got me thinking about the whole thing. I'm going to take this off now. It's very easy to forget about the world. It's easy to forget about the natural world, the earth that we belong to.
We're being so consumed, and we've talked about it before, D-Rex. There's so many reasons that it's happening, from the rush that we get from our food, from the stimulation. Our bodies are designed to respond to stimulus. It's designed to do that. So we're just doing what we're designed to do by paying close attention to everything, and foods have an emotional addiction factor. They have a physical addiction factor. They have a mental addiction factor. You know what I mean? Like there's so many reasons that we fall victim to food alone. And then, but that goes for speed, like driving fast in a car, the adrenaline rushes is what we like generically refer to them as, but there's so many different rushes that we're capable of having because of all of the things we figured out as humans. We are not running from our lives. Our ancestors were running for their lives there all the time, and
every day
at all times. Their entire existence was a repeating survival technique.
Yeah, I think that the dopamine rush we get from getting a notification on our phone, they got a dopamine rush by escaping that buffalo. The dopamine rush was much harder to come by, I
think. Yeah, no, seriously. And so I propose, because I think this is major, and I think that you're right, and it's going to change fast. It's already changing fast, but it's going to get to a point where it's undeniable, and it's the topic of conversation, how far we are from nature. And it's going to be to the point where don't be surprised if getting into nature is off limits, if the robots don't let us. It's scary how crazy it could get. But while we have a chance.
Speaking of crazy, my friend who's a songwriter, she said that she put some command into Chat GPT recently. Do you know what that is?
I've heard. Yeah, I've heard.
Okay, because I'm not an expert on this, but this is my songwriter friend, and she said she put a command in there to write a song about a certain topic in a certain style, and she said it was pretty good, and she's actually fearing for her job.
Wow, fearing.
She's wondering, like, is this something that humans even need to do anymore? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say
Yeah,
there's no way an algorithm is going to figure out what it's like to be human. I think that that's impossible. But some people think that machines are going to take over the world and kill us all. So I guess I don't know. I'm more on the side of optimism. Like, you can't fully replace a human. You can definitely replace some human jobs, but that's always happened throughout history. Do you think that this is different than that?
I think that the only thing, if there is something that makes a difference, it's instinct. How do you teach instinct? Isn't the essence of the concept just that it can't be taught, it has to be had? We don't know why we know what we know when it comes to primal, but we know how to breathe, we know how to digest food, we know we're supposed to get it. I think that to be to think that something is impossible is
Mm-hmm.
being impossible, because everything that we've imagined since up to this point in our lives that could be true has come true. Think about before we had microscopes, and think about what we thought monsters would look like. They'd be huge fire breathing creatures. We have microscopes and they exist.
Mm-hmm.
There are creatures that can literally fucking crisp your ass. They're it might not be a flame, but it's energy. And the smaller you get, the more monstrous they appear. We are extremely complex. We're by far the most complex thing we've ever discovered in nature. Human beings are. And we've only been around for a couple 100,000 years in our current form. Homo sapiens are, there's omnids. Omnids.
I was wondering, ooh, what's this? I don't know what this is.
Well, there
Omnids.
people, yeah. People have been walking around on 2 feet for millions of years, but
Uh-huh.
humans as we are now are only a couple 100,000 years old. And we're the slowest evolving. All the other ones, are evolving quicker than we are. So to think that we are fully evolved, even though there's been millions of years of evolution and we are only this, I think that however you describe machines taking over and killing us, if I wouldn't be surprised if they were operated by a human brain. I wouldn't be surprised if machines figured out that humans were awesome except for this part and this part and that part, and kept our brains around because our brains have instincts. Like
I
who
think I
like
think that it's more than instinct, though. Honestly, I think there's heart, and there's an understanding. There's a deep understanding that I don't think a machine will ever get. There's a deep
it,
understanding of emotions and of experience.
well, that's true, but I don't think that's really relevant when it comes to whether or not they could kill us. They might not be cooler than us, like in retrospect. Like, well, humans could love. You guys might kill us all, but at least we could love. It's like,
Well,
you know,
yeah, and how I don't know if that's going to help the human race survive. But you know what? Here's the most terrifying monster. I pulled this up for you, and this is under a microscope. Is this not the most terrifying monster
oh
you've
my
ever
god,
seen?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's crazy looking, crazy, crazy.
It's
It,
crazy what we can't see.
that resembles beasts that we have brought up in our imaginations that have been on TV, that have things that we have like legs and mouths. But there are creatures that are in existence on this planet as far as life goes that are so much crazier looking. Like the things that like our white blood cells are they are cold-blooded killers. No, they're white-blooded
Yeah, I've
killers.
seen that. I've seen that. Mm-hmm.
And it's almost, you would think that they were a different species. They're just another little unit of our body that works and does its job. Like it's outrageous what's going on within us. And so I think all the possibilities are there. And I really think that we should be afraid of being fooled by virtual reality and in these. I mean, I think it's a symptom when we are so easily wooed by these filters, and we want to. Yeah, they're crazy looking, ain't they? That we're wooed by the cartoon life, these filters. Like, oh, it looks cute, and I made the comment today that I don't even know what that was about that you sent me because I was so distracted by the filter. And to me, it's a symptom of how we're just not happy with what we have. You know, we want
Hmm.
it to be so much better. We're having surgery on our faces. Look, tattoos are cool, you know, but when you're like poking your lips and making them swell up because you want that, to me, I don't understand. I do understand because you grow up infatuated with cartoons. It's internal programming. It's not we're not pointing fingers or saying anybody's better than anybody, but you know, it's where we're conditioned. We're like programmed. We're like hypnotized, you know, to be attracted to these things. You know, and the closer, the blurrier the line is between us and reality, the less we realize that we're doing it to ourselves. That the reason that we're trying to make ourselves look like our Facebook filters is because, you know, we've been programmed, you know, to be, you know, that's why cartoons are on cereal boxes. Like they associate that with sugar. We're sitting there reading the box, eating the cereal, and being like, "Oh my god," you know, like
Well,
it's
I think
so.
you also mentioned another thing there. It's like you're eating this sugary cereal. You're like
Yeah,
that.
it's
Let's
like
let's go back to this topic
it's
here
like ringing the
because
bell and feeding you.
I mean, we
Pavlov.
have so many ways to get a hit of dopamine these days. And
Yes,
it's
yes.
as easy as me checking my phone and seeing that my friend texted me, you know?
Attention,
It's as easy as me checking for a like on the photo I put on Facebook.
attention. Yep.
And yeah, I mean, it's just way too easy to get those hits of dopamine and we're all a bunch of junkies, you know? We're
Attention junkies.
we're just junkies for dopamine in many, many ways. And it's just way too easy these days. And you know, when you look in the mirror and you don't see what you like, you want a hit of dopamine, you want to see what you like. So you start changing things, you know? And I mean, I put on makeup, you know, is that any different than somebody puffing up their lips? I don't know. I don't know where the line starts and stops, you know?
Good point. Good point. I think I may have been getting into the blurry part of that line because we all
Yeah.
do things. We're all doing our best, right? We're all just really just doing our best. And so,
Well,
like, I'm not
and
trying to
but
hate on
sometimes we're
anybody.
not, right? Sometimes we're not doing our best. And I think that the thing that, and I don't even think that we're going to talk about this today, but I'm going to talk about it right now. Just the past couple of days, I started to do some intermittent fasting. And for anybody who doesn't know what that is, it's basically just I'm eating in an 8 hour window and I'm not eating the rest of the time. And I'm doing that because I realized I was looking around. I was at not a funeral, but my aunt passed away, and she passed away from dementia. And a couple of years ago, my mom passed away from a stroke, and these are all brain issues that run in my family. And I said to my cousin, "We have to do something. We have to start doing something right now. We have to take better care of our brains." And he was like, good luck with that, and kept eating his plate of summer sausage and cheese curds. Sorry, Dave, throw you under the bus.
Oh damn! Honk honk.
But you know, I think it's hard to make changes sometimes, especially when there's no dopamine involved. But the reason I'm doing this is because I saw the effects of it. And the reason I'm doing it mostly is because when you fast, it's like I'm not going to use any medical terminology, okay? Because I want to keep it really, really just like for anybody. But let's just say that when you're fasting, your body starts to eat all of the garbage in your body. It starts cleaning up the garbage. And not only that, it creates stem cells, you know, speaking of stem cells. And it fixes a lot of the things that are going wrong in your body. And a longer fast can fix more in your body. But I don't feel like I'm there. I'm just trying to maintain what I got. I'm trying to eat up some garbage a few hours a day, you know, and try to keep myself on track. But the thing about fasting is that it gets your blood sugar to stay normal or low and regular. And after a few days of it, you don't even think about snacking. It's the weirdest thing. It's like you become a completely different creature. And like that you've never been before. It's the strangest thing. And if you have tried intermittent fasting, you know, pipe up in the comments. Ray says I just started that too. It's supposed to be
Nice.
really good. And yes, it is. And a reason that a lot of people fail at it is because when they do eat, they're eating trash. They're eating trash food, the kind of food that gives you that instant sugar hit, that dopamine hit, makes you feel good, but it's not good for you. And when you are doing fasting, or even when you're just living life, you should be eating whole foods, and you know you should. You know you should be cooking and eating whole foods. And I'm not saying anything new there. But with the fasting, it makes it so much easier when you're eating the whole foods and you're doing the fasting and your blood sugar is like this, and you suddenly don't feel like a junkie. Like I was saying, we're all like dopamine junkies, we're sugar junkies. We are addicted to so much that we're not even aware of. And I don't mean to sound preachy, because I'm a junkie for these sorts of things too. It's very hard for me to stay away from my phone.
I want to clarify some things too. There's the thing about what you're describing that makes it work on so many levels. Okay, so when it comes to fasting and why it works, you're correct. You're spot on. When your body's not in the digesting of food mode, it goes around and cleans up the garbage and gets it all out. That's extremely important. Okay, and your next important thing is that you're talking about eating whole foods. It's still alive. That means all of the chemicals that are there that are coexisting are prepared to start interacting. All they need is a little sunshine and water, and they can be alive. And so when you take that into your body, you're not accumulating stuff. But when you as a human, when you eat the wrong things, that stuff and you don't stop eating, like if you don't give your body a time to not be digesting and metabolizing, and you don't give it a time for the cleaning up, that stuff accumulates. And that's why we have chronic inflammation all throughout society. It is the most glaring red flag on earth. Look at what people are dying from, and look at what people look like the older they get. It's not, you don't get sick with age. Humans don't get worse at being humans. We just get bogged down from all of the bad decisions we're making with how we treat our body. And the intermittent fasting, by incorporating that, which I have done, and actually ever since you told me about it, I don't identify it as I'm doing it. I just have consciously now made an effort to, eat in the morning and not eat after too late. If I'm around other people, then I do what other people are doing. But like in the daytime, I'm home alone all the time. I'm like schoolwork Swede, and I try not to eat, past 8 or past 4, because that's like the 16-hour window, right? If you stop eating at 4 and you start eating again at 8 a.m. and just eat light throughout the day. Think about this. This is how humans got here. Before food was readily available, we would wake up in the mornings when the sun came up, or when it was befitting for us to find our food. And our bodies are designed to respond positively to sugar. So please don't hate on real good sugar. Love good sugar. It's what your brain needs. Your brain needs good sugar. So that's why we love fruit first. Humans are fruit eaters first. That's what gives us our energy. And then we love green leafy vegetables too. It's because they're easy to get, right? They're easy to get. And our bodies have evolved by that easy access to fruit and green leafy vegetables. And we've learned throughout the years, not humans have learned, but other animals prior to humans that developed our digestive tract for us, learned that by eating roots and by eating nuts, we can also use those things too. And we don't accumulate stuff. So how humans evolved naturally in nature. You get up and you hunt for a couple hours, and then you'd be lucky to get a little bit of fruit along the way. And then you find somebody else that's done hunting. And then, if you're a dominant male and she's in the mood, then you got somebody to hang out with for the next 16 hours. You find a place to chill, and your body, that you're not feeding yourself over throughout the night. And we have such the rhythms of our body, as far as responding to sunlight and releasing serotonin, and then realizing that serotonin has been being released for so long, and now that we're not feeling sunlight anymore, we start releasing different hormones that make us have a different rhythm. It's all built into us. It's so intricate how our bodies react, and we pay so little attention to it. But when we start doing things that are truly effective, we have these truly explainable results. So intermittent fasting, eating naturally, small portions of fruits and vegetables and nuts and roots throughout the day, and stopping eating right when the sun's about to go down, and conserving your energy, procreating, That's important, procreating, and then, protecting the children and all that other stuff, but the sooner we can get to that, the better. And my proposal with the Get Busy Living Project, D-Rex, is that we can't fight the revolution that's happening with virtual reality, but we can help people get back into nature in the process. Those of you that are interested in feeling these natural rhythms that we're talking about, help us with this cause. Because what we're trying to do is generate revenue so that we can put it back into the community in the way of helping them get on epic adventures in the Get Busy Living Project, helping people that can benefit from stem cells get access to stem cells, and helping those of you that want to come out and get busy living with us come out and get busy living with us. How does that happen? Well, once we get to the point where our revenues are, by the way, the Help Swede Walk Again is officially organized with the IRS nonprofit. Okay, so we have accountant, we have bookkeeping, we have processes, we have people that we answer to, we're running this legitimately. So the revenues that we generate are going to go towards getting stem cells, getting people, the spinal cord injured community on these Get Busy Living adventures, getting you guys on these adventures, and throwing the huge party. All right, so go to the hswa.org, get yourself a copy of the book. We need 2,000 reservations. Once we have 2,000 reservations, the books ship. We pick out of a hat. We take somebody to Alaska with the wolf Scooty Wells. And along the way, knowing that what it's going to take for that type of growth to be necessary is a stronger viewership here. And as our viewership here grows and more time that we get to put into it, then the things that will happen naturally is that more copies will get moved. And what will happen as those copies are getting moved and we're generating revenues, we're going to be able to afford to bring you guys on these epic adventures with us. So we would love to get to the point where for the first Thursday of each month, we're talking about, how profitable the HSWA was last month. It's a nonprofit, right? So what happens when you have profit? You put it into the community. That's how it works. That's why we get this kind of advantage. So help us generate these revenues and turn the profits back towards you in the way of throwing the huge party, sending somebody to Alaska, getting you guys on these trips with us, getting people who need stem cells. Let's do this. Let's do this.
Absolutely. Well, I want to back up because I'm not done talking.
Oh, yeah.
So after I was thinking about all this through fasting and whatever, I was just, Scooty Wells says, he's getting ready.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bro, man, we're like, go ahead, babe. I want to talk about Scooty Wells. You go ahead.
Okay. We will talk about Scooty Wells. I was just thinking because, as Americans, we don't have an old country. It's really not that old. And I don't like to think of like, well, what did we do when we were cavemen? Well, nobody knows what we did when we were cavemen, but we do know how Native Americans lived. And we actually know people who still live like that today. And it's the most natural state for a human being to live like that. And I often think like, well, what did they do that I can incorporate into my own life? And I do feel that fasting is a more natural way of eating. They didn't have refrigerators 300 years ago, right? Like we don't have to go back to cavemen days to think about humans living naturally off the earth. But there weren't any refrigerators around. We couldn't just store our hamburger for later, So I try to pick out these little things in modern day life, like how can I return to my human roots? And I do feel that this is one of those things.
You remind me of talking to my boy Furby. I ran into him in Bali right before New Year's a couple of years ago. And we were talking and I laid out for him what my concept for the handbook to heaven is. And that's the Life in the Year of Swedism's book is a part of a fundraising campaign that we started a couple of years ago that got put on hold for reasons that I've already explained. But the Handbook to Heaven is the book that I was working on when I got injured in Bali. And it is very, very, very heavily influenced by the way that tribal humans all around the world lived, community-driven living, and having roles in community naturally assumed, not competed for. I mean, obviously they could compete, but and not caring about who has the most, just caring about that we all have enough, and
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
real, like, it takes a village to raise a child. And I truly believe that as humans, we're doing it wrong. We're telling our children not to have children, and then we're telling them to become worker bees and then try to force children down their throats or let them happen by mistake, and then try to work and raise children and get old and leave our children behind and on their own to fend for themselves and have their own children, when we should be having our children, look, have children when it's easiest and it's most healthy for you and you're most likely to recover when you're young, and then have your grandparents be prepared to receive them, and so then you can work your ass off as an adult, and so that by the time your grandchildren are here, you can receive them. So as grandparents, we are our caregivers for our children. We're the teachers, we're the doctors, but we're not at work being a doctor. We're in the community providing. You know what I mean by that? And so grandparents, being the ones that are responsible for teaching the children, and then once you're done being raised by your grandparents, or I mean, once you have children, right? Your parents or their grandparents take them, and then you are the workforce. So I believe that rather than trying to maintain a part of the workforce or become a part of the workforce young and then have children in the process, that we should have children young, and the people that have already had children a while ago, are now coming back to take care of the young children now. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense? And that's how a
Well,
lot of
I mean, is it not idealist though? I mean, does that really fit into our modern life? I mean, idealist is not a bad thing to aim for. But
just because you put ist at the end of it doesn't make it a bad thing. It goes for isms too, or a good thing. And just because it's explainable doesn't mean it's not a part of a bigger picture.
No, I just mean, like, how possible is it for most people? There are so many other factors that make it impossible for some people. The high real estate prices, the this messed up financial situation that we're in, that we put young people in. It's idealist to want that kind of situation, but the reality is it's very tough for young people today to get ahead. And I think what we're going to find is a real frustration. I think we're already seeing it among young people. And I think it's going to try to return to this tribal outlook where we're going to come back together. I've actually already heard stories of young people abandoning their dating apps to try to meet people in real person. I do really think there's going to be a backlash from all of this.
I hope so, and I think there will be too. I think that we are going to get smarter as people. We are going to have ideas and then become idealists and spread them. And I do think that the more we're going through a stumbling period, getting knocked upside the head with information overload. And are we going to get a grip? Are we going to realize that it's no longer arguable what things we're doing wrong, and learn to cut them out? I think that we will, but it all starts, with talking about it and raising your children right, which I think the grandparents should be doing.
Because they have the experience, right? I mean,
exactly.
It just makes sense. Because I know, and first of all, you really know, because you had your kid way younger than I had mine. But even at 27, I didn't feel like I knew what was going on at all. Like I didn't know what to do.
I was doing exactly what I wanted to do the day that I got redirected back into this cause, and I'm glad to be here. Seriously. So as me and Scooty Wells were talking about it recently, the possibilities are endless. We want to. I'm tired of having being told that I can't do something because of my condition. Mm-hmm. And I know that there are people out there that want to help people that need help. And I want to be the person that gets those people together and right in the middle of it. And knowing where Scotty's goals are with Alaska, and knowing how passionately I feel about helping people get on their feet and getting busy living in all ways, shapes, or forms, I really cannot wait to be able to pioneer, the trailblaze in Alaska with this guy. So Scooty Wells is already doing it with Adventurous Alaska. This dude has an elaborate plan, and this dude is a king of executing elaborate plans. So what he's doing with it, and what his plans are for Adventurous Alaska, and then what we can be able to do with the Get Busy Living Project and the Help Swede Walk Again organization tying into that. I mean, how amazing is it going to be? See, Jerry he didn't realize he was opening up a can of worms when he told me a couple weeks ago that he's been on a boat going up a river, a glacier river, and then kind of like feeling sad because I probably wouldn't be able to do that because of my chair. No, we're doing that. We're going to figure it out. We're going to build that pipeline. I'm going to, I want to be the guy that greets him at the airport and has him pile into my truck that can park, that can hold like 8 wheelchairs and 8 passengers plus ones, and like, let's head towards Denali National Park and get out into nature and remember what real dopamine feels like.
You know what? Before we close it out today, I would like to talk about this. And I just want to know what's next? What's next for you? What's on the horizon?
So luckily, I'm very excited about. I was recently introduced to somebody that's somewhat of an ambassador, a middleman, if you will, that is going to be coordinating my medical outlook. So I have ortho that I need help. I have a neuro that I need help, and I've got the hetero that's it's such a huge mission that it's hard to find people that will want to mess with it at all. But thankfully, after seeing JC a couple weeks ago, that's my PCP. And having her assign this guy to me and talking to him yesterday, we got the blood work done. So I'm looking forward to getting the DEXA scan. And then I'm going to show you guys the difference between what my body composition was like back in November. And then I'll talk to you about what my blood work looked like throughout. I got my blood work done just about once a month. And I'll be able to talk to you about the type of eating that was going on. And let's see if my theories about how the blood work is going to be affected come true. And look, I'm
excited. I can't wait.
Yeah. I know this, that I was not as nearly as religious as I needed to be to get real dramatic effects. But I also know that I wasn't nearly as far from good to get dramatic effects anyway, because I was already eating pretty healthy. So even my worst case blood numbers are not even a scratch of bad compared to what some people's blood numbers look like. You know what I mean? So it's not going to be like I'm the world's biggest loser, by going on stage being X 100 pounds overweight and then losing X 100 pounds. Like I was already in good ranges all along. But
and I don't think you need to go out of your way to do extra bad just to produce extra good results. I think that if we see some good results here, we should appreciate them for what they are and not like look for some sort of delta that doesn't matter.
Right. No. Well, we'll be comparing. I'm just saying it's not going to be a dramatic. The drama, excuse me, is the fact that my belly is smaller. And the support band that I wear to help my other issues work properly, it's looser now, and it's not extremely loose, but it's looser, and it's a slow process. Burning calories for me is difficult.
Yeah. And that's something else that we want to see in your next step is we want to see that home gym set up and you getting more in that pool. And there's so much. And then, of course, we were talking to Truman about setting up another bike trip.
Yes, man, I can't believe D-Rex. I just go on and on with you. And we didn't even talk about the next couple destinations. We'll get to the canoe trip next month. We'll talk about that next week. So please come back and we'll tell you guys about what destination number 8 is going to be. But speaking of Truman, yes, we're going to take a bunch of people. I want, honestly, he told me he can handle 8. And so I want to take 8 to the Grand Canyon in September. And then I want to take, he told me he could do 4 in a day on the Tetra. I want to take 4 on the Tetra next January. And then I want to take 8 more biking again in March. And I want to get.
Do you happen to know those bikes that you want to get out on in September? Are those the ones that also people can ride with you? We were discussing that he had certain bikes where they were adaptive bikes, but also someone could ride with you, which I think is a great idea.
Yes, all that information is to come. Yeah, but isn't that going to be exciting if I can have a passenger?
That is exciting.
But imagine this. Speaking of excitement, riding a bike with somebody is amazing. We're going to do that. That's easy. But as we grow, I'm talking about doing real exciting things. I'm talking about ATVs. I'm talking about ATVs on sand dunes. I'm talking about scuba diving. Where do you want to scuba dive, D-Rex? I like the Caribbean personally. The Great Barrier Reef's overrated. It's dying out there. But we can go anywhere. Jerry probably knows where we need to go. Scooty Wells is a master diver. My boy Boogie's got mad time underwater. Scuba diving is definitely an option. I would love to go skydiving. I'm talking about what can we do? Like my legs that don't work, just tie a bungee on them and let me just push me over. You know how badass would that be? Just be hanging by a bungee cord out of an airplane.
You definitely have a lot on your list to do. I'd be happy to go snorkeling or scuba diving anywhere, because that's been one of the most amazing experiences of my life, to put my face in the water and see that whole other world that exists on this world. It's just unimaginable until you see it for yourself.
Man, I've been skydiving almost 8 times. 3 of them I was attached to somebody. The other 5 I was able to jump without somebody attached to me, even though there's always jumping with me, just in case something went wrong. But being by yourself under the wing and having under control and like coming in for the landing is.
I'll never do it. I will never do it. Never.
Come on.
There are so many earthly things to do. I don't need to do that.
Would you ever jump off of something very high?
Nah.
Would you ever let me push you?
No.
You better not stand near the ledge.
But there are so many things to do. And then, somebody has to stay back and take the pictures and the videos. So that'll be me. Yeah. I'm signing up for that.
I love it.
Well, so it looks like
we got 48 months to go. I know that some
crazy.
Of them are going to include biking. Some of them are going to include canoeing. Some of them are going to include skiing.
I got called lame. I am a little lame.
See, what's up? Akila is in the house. So, all bullshit aside though. So Boog, throw us up in the comments, Boog. How many different places have you been scuba diving? And how many different places have you been skydiving? Akila, have you ever been scuba diving or skydiving? I miss that girl. Hey, we are due, girl. We are due. I know you live close by, so we're going to make that happen. But 48 destinations. As we grow and develop more relationships, we are going to take other people that need help, just like I need help, right along with me. I feel like for the amount of effort that it would take to assemble a team to get one of us there, it would only take a couple more members to get 2 of us there, and then a couple more to get 10 of us there. So the number of the people that we can take goes up drastically with just adding a couple more team members. I think it's a worthwhile project. I can't wait to pass the mic around at the huge party and have so many other people that we've helped go on these get busy living adventures. What is up? Jay Brown is in the house. We got some late arrivals. I'm glad we're still here. I don't know if you guys have been around for a while now. Oh, what's up, Sue? Hey, cuh. So look, Susan, Jay Brown, welcome. Erie is in the house. Where's our Erie significance?
Oh, yeah. I'll have to find that.
I'll have to find that loop button.
Yes, you do. Okay.
I love that we got to squeeze that in there in the end, for real.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't give up the ship.
Don't give up on us. Hey, guys, please, if you're here, go. I know that it's cliche. There's a reason that it's done. Go, please like this video. Go, if you haven't already subscribe. Go click so that you get notified. That stuff helps. You're going to get tired of me texting you, and I'm going to get tired of doing it too. We want it to grow. And once we get to the point where we can start, promoting heavily, we know that it will. But in the meantime, we could use your help, be a part of the solution. And come back next week. Next week, we'll talk about the canoe trip that's going on in April. We're going to talk more about the Stem Cell Institute and the information we learned there. And guys, always remember, no matter the weather, we are all in this together. Always remember, whether sunshine or rain, there's no joy without pain. Always remember, we're all in this together. Can I get a hell yeah?
Hell yeah. Good night, everybody.
Love you. Oh, damn, what happened?
You pressed the wrong button. Hi, guys.
Ooh, hey, what do you mean I pressed the wrong button?
see me, but you got